In the wisdom of the comrades, ladies and gentlemen, they shall not confuse our silence for peace. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Exchange Podcast. But right before I let my guests introduce themselves, I'm Kimathi Wina, your host, and we look forward to a very interactive session. Karibuni sana.
Santi. Oh, my name is Gloria Munyiva. I am a student at JQuat, currently the Deputy Speaker of the 8th Congress in the JQuat JKUSA Association. What else? I am a girl.
Karibu sana. Your regalo is very important.
Yeah, the man who uses tear gas as the perfume. My name is John Marvin. A lot of people do know me, but I'll have to reintroduce myself again here to the Exchange Podcast.
Karibuni sana. So we discuss and dissect all matters, comrade. You have to agree with me that a lot has happened this week that does affect the comradeship of this country and beyond. So we begin with the ongoing strikes, lecturers across public universities, which started as a comrade strike, kidogo, comrade amepigwa tear gas. I even thought lecturers were uniting to fight for human rights until I get this stuff as a CBA. The 2021-2025 collective agreement with the lecturers and the government. What do you think? Is it justified for teachers to leave students in class and go to streets? What do you think, Marvin?
I think it's their right if they are not getting paid. It's their right to demand. That's why they are on the streets, because maybe they're not getting enough pay, or maybe they're not being paid. Money is a factor in all of this, according to my opinion. I don't know what about hers or yours, but I think money is a key factor in almost everything that we do. Yeah.
No, Madam Speaker, is it justified for the students to lose value for their money while the lecturer is chasing money?
The same lecturers have students, have daughters and sons in the schools. So if they're unable to get the funds to ensure that the kids are in school, then it's not justified. Again, I'd like to explain that perhaps we can draw it from another angle. Yes, we do have the wasting of time and all that, but they have been neglected for so long. Even when the budget allocation comes in, for OASU and the lecturers' part, they are usually left behind in salary increment. It's usually just the NAT. Yes, and compared for the secondary school education, but for the lecturers, we really demean their value.
You mentioning UASU, it reminds me that the Cabinet Secretary for Labour, Mutua Alfred, has just met with UASU and KUSA officials, including their Secretary Generals. And don't you think there's too much of kupanga and kutenga?
It has been there. It has been there.
It has to be. We did expect.
Yeah. Sorry, can I? Yes. I have heard it from the news actually leo asubuhi. And kitu enye inanishangaza ni every single time that there's a strike, there's usually a new committee that is being formed. But the agendas of that committee, even though it's gazetted, it's not clearly outlined. Even the period of it somehow is very shaky. And you'll find that inaweza chukua a day, but the matter is not sufficient to be done through by a day. So again, kutenga na kupanga, I don't know why this government loves it.
I think kupanga is the easiest solution. Speaking of committees formed after the comrades at the town hall had insisted no, there was a new funding model task force that was created. What do you think? Throw in some thoughts on the same.
The new funding model.
Yeah.
I think most of the comrades do not really believe it will be implemented the way they're putting it on the Gazette. I think it's a money laundering scheme. I think, in my opinion.
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
Strictly. Now with the new funding model, after it was a no, there was a committee of mostly student leaders that was supposed to review. What do you think we are reviewing, and will it yield fruit? Because technically it is a positive action, and it depends with what goes on. What do you think will happen?
Well, first I'd like to give my feedback on it. After the Naivasha, there were implementations that were suggested to the Ministry of Education. what is it called? I've forgotten the name for the university education, and to the help. And then the second time that we met, at the Kenya School of Government, they still hadn't implemented it. So it was rage all over. And then now we already have a town hall meeting, and now we have committees, which I understand because even whether we like it or not, this new funding model has already been implemented.
True.
So we would have avoided all this if they had involved the students before they implemented this new funding model. However, oh my God, this will make me so... anyway, Kimathi.
Speak out.
It's a safe space. So, however, I feel that the intentions are good, but I do not think the outcome will be so good or so useful because of external influences. Perhaps the student leaders are okay and are willing to do so. Maybe all of them are for it. But in ukifika kwa ground, vitu zingine zinakwanga different. And if you've seen, we also have professors in those committees.
Sure.
So I'm wondering the transparency that will be there.
Yeah, it's very questionable that we have a student leader and a professor with the same capacity sitting on a table. We just hope for the best because we know it's for the best of the comradeship. Now we will shift gears to something we've had before. We are exporting labor to countries abroad. It was mentioned that we will be taking 10,000 Kenyans. Si tutaisha 10,000 every week. Hatutaisha.
Nataka kujua ni country gani.
Well, because Kenyans in Lebanon are still complaining. We are taking police to Haiti. No.
Actually, Kenyans in Lebanon, it's actually very concerning because of the current situation that is happening right now in terms of security. And the Kenyan government is not speaking about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of kuisha, nilisikia Wakenya in the first place hatukufa kuwekwa pamoja. Like hawa watu ni toxic. So there's a plan to disband us to various parts of the world.
Putting 10,000 Kenyans in a country. We all know what Kenyans can do.
Will they ship us 10,000 every week? Okay. I don't know how that will work. What do you think?
No, it won't. Ini jaba. Ini serious jaba. We see your efforts, but you stop lying. Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
And you see, for development, to promote development, we are brain draining our own country. Because you are exporting labor that is supposed to progress for our own country. So where's the nationalism? There's no nationalism, hapo. And when you're talking about development, we seem to exclude the aspect of that development is not only in the GDP. GDP merely. Actually, the PPP, purchasing power parity, really does a very big thing. As well as the educational development. You see those kind of things. Health development, those are the things that we're supposed to be talking about. In the happiness index, enda uangalie mali global happiness index, Kenya iko huko chini, inequality. Tumejam. Karibu tuwake ka dragon.
In my opinion, I think tumewaka, but kwa media, like online, Kenyans are different people. On media, social media, like TikTok comments. You can see, I was like reviewing different reels and stuff, memes. A meme is a meme from US, but you will see Kenyans there. No, a lot of Kenyans there.
When they comment on
commenting, talking trash, because we all known, Kenyans are all known for talking trash in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A meme is from Afghanistan. How many Kenyans are in Afghanistan?
Unaweza shtuka kama wako. Anaweza hijab.
Sasa amepoa out all the sense. Yanajua ni jaba, but amemoga pa comment section.
Yeah.
Kenyans are the kind of people you meet face to face. Oh, tuko tu sawa. Hey, akitweet rada, so you don't even know. No. I want hata wanapimaji.
It's our therapy.
That is what it
I think
is.
it's a therapy scheme. Yeah.
Someone threw a word about Haiti. I understand that our president was there. We saw him singing and praying. That was, I think, very encouraging that our police are doing something. There was actually a statement given by their gang leader to the United Nations that the Kenyan police are brutal and that they should be withdrawn.
We understand.
Tuna relate, actually. That is what we are dealing with. Upper Kenyan civilian.
Yes.
And let's just hope that ijaba itaisha exporting labor. That is actually very okay. I find it awkward. We export flowers, we exchange for something. Labor.
But I
Sisi
think
ni watu
it's a getaway plan for the government. You know, in one of the manifestos of the president, he said he gave out wheelbarrows. He said that he'll support the hustlers, Mama Mboga. So 2 years down the line, we're not seeing any improvement from Mama Mboga. I remember there was one Mama Mboga at our place celebrated the swearing in of Ruto, saying that her life would change. I was like, in my head, nakupea miaka 2.
Utajua
Tuone kama utakuwa umejenga stall kubwa kushinda yenye uko nayo. 2 years down the line, same lifestyle, same stall, same suffering. And I asked her, has anything happened?
Unaona?
Kuna kitu umeona imefanyika? And I was like, I swear kila kitu ulisema ni ukweli.
Nathani what happened when William Ruto was doing his campaign, he's really good at it. So what happened, people put their trust in him. Walijua if this guy makes it, Kenya will be a clean place.
Kutoka block.
It's just it's just like the
First
era.
world country.
It's just like the era between the transition from the Moi government to Kibaki. It was all over that Moi was the problem. And if Moi gets out all corruption, everything, it's going to be a clean country. But it wasn't. It's about time as Kenyans we thought to it and gave it a thought that ni mimi na wewe, we will change this country. It's not.
It wasn't, but there was like a significant change on the Kibaki government.
Yeah, it's sure.
A lot of infrastructures were built during his period.
Yeah.
We can try and compare and contrast between the government of Kibaki and William, not even Ruto, just Uhuru Kenyatta. We can compare. We could see a lot happening during the Kibaki government.
Sure.
Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta tried with the SGR. But also in that manifesto, there was building of stadiums and stuff. How many stadiums have you built?
What's here?
If you've seen Mularake,
That one is discouraging. Hata tutahama Kenya. You saw the stadium ya Isiolo.
kuna ile yenye ilikuwa by the embassy ya Hungary.
Wa,
Ilikuwa kama hapo alafu field. Na ilikuwa 950 something M.
Wamekorogia concrete alafu wameita stadium.
That one. You even wonder tuko wapi. And then we're exporting labor. We will also want to review how do we export labor and then we will import Indian labor to Adani. Now let's come to unajua when you think of muindi na ndege, you know there's only one result. It will fly away. And then we get and then we get the Adani. They are trying to raise funds for the next 30 years.
1.85 billion.
For 30 years. Who's buying that?
It's diabolical.
I don't know. And then they will export labor. I understand that more than 45% of the labor, probably the staff in KQ, are youth under 35. So that one has to hit hard on the Kenyan youth. Speaking of joblessness,
But
I wonder what is happening.
It would help to kill joblessness because if we export labor, other people get jobs.
No, but the other countries get the better, what is it called? Profits or let's say revenue. And only us we get from, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name. What is it called? Not the is it remittance? No, the word for the money that people who are nationals who are living abroad pay to the Kenyan government. There's a word which, honestly speaking, doesn't make sense. If you compare that and then you ratio with the number of expatriates that you're having in this country and the influx of other, let's say, non-Kenyans who are now into our industries because the government is trying to make it better for them and not for us, then it cancels out and we get a negative result. I am currently doing development studies, so I remember when we're doing this unit, tulikuwa tuna jam kila siku. Unaamka una calculate una jam tu sana because whatever you saw in terms of, can I extend the process? I have a lot to give. So
Vent.
let's pause. So we are in 1960 and the colonialists wako karibu kutoka. Na wanaona hapa kimeumana by the way and they need collaborators. See, they assign those collaborators. But it's not enough because it's already still a Western kind of system, a racist systemic structure. And then they have to leave someone because they already wrote to when they were bargaining for these partitions in Africa, they said it was for the purpose of development. In fact, kwa hizo documents, we are regarded as savages and barbarians. Yeah, so there's we are monkeys, guys. Anyway, so for that line of evolution in terms of development, the linear now line, there is from, I think, savagery to barbaric to now modernism. And now us, we're still barbaric. We are in the line to transitioning to modernism. Hatujafika. So the wazungu said, juu hao watu hawajafanya hiyo development tulikuwa tunataka, we have trustees. So the trustees are not only the collaborators, but the World Bank, the IMF. So if you look at the missions and objectives of the World Bank and the IMF, apart from providing money, mostly it's for the development, right?
SDGs.
Yes. So when you take a look at it, mostly towards third world countries, and now for us under the Commonwealth and all that stuff, we already have a structure. And then come back, tuko na structure, watu wameanza kusoma, watu wameanza kujua. And now these people are like, apana, bado hizo raw materials tunataka at low value, ndio si tuendelee kuperform vifiti. Tukue tunawasaidia. Juu nyenye hamjiwezi by the way. Mejangalia kyo? Hamjiwezi. So, come back, people are starting to develop themselves, and now they are taking people out. So they give you scholarships. But initially, the scholarships, wakati wa Tom Mboya, before Tom Mboya's death, the purpose of the scholarships was to empower the Kenyans. So ilikuwa utoke, urudi.
Wende uchopo.
Urudi, yeah. That is development. And that's what even I saw Kibaki telling people, come back to our country. We have good roads. We have things, jobs. Kuja,
come build
tujenge.
home.
Kenya ni home. Ama pia mimi nitapelekwa kote. Anyway. So after that, what happened? This guy so apana, we are going the right way, and they don't want us to go to the right way. So they shikilia mambo ya presidents. So you're being told we'll give you loans for your development, but in all honesty, not most. I don't want to tag the names, but hawakuwa naangalia hiyo, walikuwa naangalia benefit yao. So
Kauko. Staying there.
And when you look at the first time, Malaysia and Kenya were in the same position. Actually, 1960, 1980s, it was 60. We were higher than Malaysia. We used to changia Malaysia. And now comes a bad regime who wants to build a dynasty and it overturns. And now comes the World Bank trying to improve. And we have Kina South Korea who are once with us, the same line with us, and Hong Kong. And then they use the same World Bank, but at a lower rate interest. For African countries and South American countries, we're given a higher interest rate. Yes. And so after that, what happens? So hawa watu wakamua, wao wanaweza negotiate. Hata sijui kama wali negotiate, honestly speaking. But they get the money. We don't even see, we're supposed to get the information. It's supposed to go to parliament. Then the bill, let's say the plan or the proposal of their terms. If they want us to turn to a full capitalistic state, wana inaandikangwa hapo. Remove taxes and subsidiaries, it's supposed to be there. But they don't. So naona tu, the IMF has given Kenya another
hata zitakuwa kwa budget tunashanga kunaenda aje
na bado mko na finance bill, and you're wondering, wasn't this money supposed to cover for the entire thing, or was it just ati ilikuanga kidogo? And what was the conditions? Did we even look at the conditions? South Korea sahi it's a middle upper heading to first class, right? And these people have the same type of youth bulge as the Kenyan population. But their government sought to, because of their culture, they have a very strict culture. The Asians, most of them
have strict culture.
Yeah. Ukipatikana una bribe ama corruption, if you watch dramas, una dedi.
Alafu speaking of bribes na nini, nilikuwa nawaambia walisema ati wa Kenya in the first place atukufaa kuwa pamoja. But look at it, there's a rumor that Adani was requesting if we don't get the deal to cash back and hands out zetu. Who does that? Imefika hapo hands out. Uturudishiwe sisi tuende, kuna watu tulipatia ndio hii deal ingiane, tuko like these are money.
But I think on your point of the higher interest rate, are only to Africans and South Americans. If you look closely, it's because we are black. We are black.
Decolonize the process, right?
We are black. South Korean get the same with a lower interest rate because they're at least white.
They give high interest rates to
Only
poor
white.
countries.
Yeah. South Koreans are
Tuseme
ni
people
white,
people of color. People of
people
color.
of color.
People of color ni sisi juu tuko na variations of brown.
Yeah, they're white then. Sisi ni
Tuseme
We
tu
are there.
hatujafika hapo.
tutafika hapo. Yeah.
So I really think a lot has to happen. I don't know if it includes a miracle to save us from this point, but there was once when William Ruto said we need to review that. Alipanga, we will review that system. And away from that topic, we will now look at home. So we have a lot of stuff going on, the strike, Haiti, exporting, and then there is war in government. Murima, DP.
The
So,
tribal lines are being
yeah,
drawn
I
again.
don't know what
I
you
think-
think. Is it the right time to do such?
I think it's the right time to know. To know the truth.
To know the truth.
To know the truth.
Mbona umekataa hivi? You know, if your deputy is that arrogant and is fighting, what's not happening? Kuna kitu nikaa tujui. Siaseme tu
He
mara
always
moja
talks
tujue.
about people of the the mountain, people of the hill, and like he's so tribalic to view people of the hill as people of the hill. Like doesn't speak of the whole country.
Sure.
Yeah, he only talks about people of the hill. That speaks a lot about tribalism.
I don't know, for the very first time in Kenya's history, they are trying to split Murima.
Yeah.
Very sad. What do you think?
Eh.
You being a Mulima, baby.
Guys, I'm a Kenyan. Hey, I have very personal views on this matter. Itaguza wengi.
Who's that?
Yeah,
too?
take it.
First, I have two opinions on this. Either this is a decoy ya kutoa watu from kuangalia whatever has been happening, the broken structure. It might be. Or it's really there. And now the people whom we've elected to represent us are feeling they do not have the share they deserve. Or perhaps tuseme vile ilikuwa imeagrewa before. And there, you see, everyone is entitled to feel part of a culture. That's the first thing.
Yeah, true.
So if it's Murima, it's Murima. If it's the other Mount Kenya, it's the... Is it the western
Yeah,
side?
it's west.
Yeah, the mirror. Yeah, if it's the west, Nisawa. If it's the south, Nyanza, or the Akamba, the whatever, you're entitled. But what you can see is, again, what I said, what are the political models of the African continent? What is our political model? We don't have one.
Do we have a model?
Exactly. We don't have one.
Not really.
So whatever works. You see, if you look at the constitution, tunasemanga mambo ya non-discrimination,
No one will be
equal,
discriminated.
Equality.
regardless of the tribe and the race and blah, 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 right? But then, did we consider that we have these tribes? Did we consider that when we're having these tribes, we have a way on how we do our politics? Or tulipitisha katiba juu tuliambiwa si not yes.
Katiba iko sawa. Baba akisema iko sawa.
We iko sawa,
iko
you
sawa.
know.
Baba sasa tunamruka.
Nenda tunasema sasa iko sawa.
Anarukwa.
Yeah,
And you
anarukwa.
see, and I think this is now politics. You know, politics is it's a game. It's a
Dirty.
game.
In
It's
fact,
a game.
a dirty game.
It doesn't have to be dirty though.
Hii ya Kenya hii hata hatujui.
Exactly, because we do not have any model system that connects us to our culture. I'm pretty sure there's no culture that embraces hatred or hiyo I'm sure. Even wakati kitambo watu walikuwa naibiana mang'ombe and they raid. It used to be like a game, bana. Tunakuja
wewe,
tunaiba, tunaenda, you know.
Tukiwaibia nyingi mnaumwa sana.
Mnakuja mnatuletea wasichana tu intermarry ndo turudishe, you know, like ilikuanga a game. But now it's so deep, and what is happening is whatever you'll see right now, if it's a battle of power, you see what happened to Ruto and Uhuru is happening sahi tena.
I think the dynamics have changed. Hata kama tutataka kuiliken, you know, regarding ana hata event ya Mdos. And then when the president was leaving the nation that evening, Murima Gachagua had an interview. And so are you aware that the president is leaving the country? He says no. just because we don't align our diaries, it cuts deep. You don't even know he's moving out. You're burning, yo. I'm sure Ruto was in that plane asema, umzee, rada.
Si rada,
Might be a tactic. It might be a tactic.
Right?
Yeah.
To show disassociation with him right now, so that me I'm thinking
whatever he does
play.
it on his own will without me. You know, it's a tactic that also Ruto used.
Anajitoa.
Yes.
But it's too early. 2 years. Out of a possible 5.
Unajua sasa hivi leo walikuwa wanataka aende. Si lazima pange kazi mapema.
So, it's a sinking ship. What do I do? Do I stay with the sinking ship as it sinks?
Or will I?
Yeah, will I? No.
I chuck myself out.
With the floater. That's what he's doing.
So will you take sides? Wewe unge take side gani?
Neither. These guys are boomers.
All of them are bums.
Mi nadhani sasa wana entertain wa Kenya juu sasa it's getting real. We watajua wacha tufanye aje.
Nafa kwa Showmax.
Wacha tu.
Hii bidii nafaa iko documentary mahali Showmax.
Yeah, it's not even right.
Back to the episode.
And then speaking of kupanga game, I feel that Kenyan politics it's all over. Iko kila mahali. Like it's only 2 years down the line and it's already unapanga 2027. There was an interview after mengia anasema, hii ya ku step down, I am not stepping down, William Ruto. And then he says, hiyo ya 2027 nitajipanga. Utajipanga ama ni sisi tunaamua? What do you mean utajipanga?
Remember, yesterday we saw on the newspapers that the MPs are trying to bring a motion ya extend the term.
Motions ni mbili.
Term.
Actually, is it today? Motions ni mbili. 1, impeachment of the DP. 2, extension to 7 years. Mbili si mingi. Ama mnaona aje?
Me even a single day, it's too much for him considering what he did. You see, I understand that the government kuna vitu za series and someone does to try and counter attack the issues that are on hand. At the same time, what I do not agree is to try and divert the attention just because you do not want to take responsibility.
None of them wants to take responsibility.
He showed us before when he was campaigning. Vulnerability. Watu walilia bana. Nakwambia churches watu walikuwa speaking tongues because mama presida walitangwa aje bibi yake, the first lady.
Kati mama kanisa. First lady
Rachel
was saying, come on church, let us speak in tongues. Bana watu wanainua mkono mnaomba. You know, hadi analia akitoka hapo kwa pulpit unaona.
Si alikuwa na nyinyi kwa sababu he was part of hiyo kufinyiliwa.
I'm just thinking what the first lady thinks.
What it takes. Unajua yeye anajua ukweli.
Yeah, I know the truth.
Tunaassume hivi.
I know anajua. But how do you live with yourself knowing that?
Are you in peace while all of this is happening?
Wewe bwana. Hapana.
Hata maybe wanangorota. Unajua sisi wenyewe tuko.
I don't think they are in peace. Ruto might be in peace, but first lady.
No, I think that time, that was what the country needed. There was so much pressure. Unga was at 200 and something. Fuel was... We needed someone, a leader who was to stand with us. Tuko na nyinyi.
Let me tell you, the point my parents felt we are already now done was the time the story of the young man, Ian, the one who wrestled with the cops. You know, like, kulikuwa zile za, he's your elder, and then walikwanga kwanza, he's your elder, you aren't supposed to touch him. And then afterwards wakuzeleza, by the way wangenela tu kumfinya, because some of these police officers do not have good etiquette. Vile wanasimamisha magari personal. You're going to town, you're very late, someone stops you and then
asks you for bribe.
Yeah, or you're with your mamas. Sindio, mnaenda mahali. Akuja ambia mamas, toka kwa passenger princess.
Ruka hapa nyuma tuna.
Ati jumi ni polisi, nafaa kukaa
mbele.
Imagine.
Kwa gari yangu.
Wacha niwaambie. Now do you understand why even right now people don't have respect towards them? Because of some of the police officers who are also pressed tuseme hawana wamefinywa na juu huko juu kuchukua bribes and whatever. And now they're unable to cater for themselves. And now they have to find other ways. Some go to the extent of giving some gang members their own guns. And all that and uniform for the purpose of robbery and all stuff. And it's not right. So right now, ukiangalia, the people whom we respected so much, such as the police officer, saya anangaliwa so lowly.
I don't think we respected them. We feared. we feared the police.
We did.
There was a time they were loved mpaka katiba ikabadilishwa ikakuwa the National Police Service.
Unajua 208 ule msemenye aliamua kuambia the time that there was this friction between the Mungiki and the other team, and they were there, mbona tunapigana jamini, and he was given even an accolade or something of that, and now right now naharibu.
They are the side of the good police.
True.
Then there's this other side, the bad side.
Manze, mpaka
The killer cops,
And those are the ones, but you see vitu mbaya ndo ziuji onyesha more. People don't remember the good so much. Ukisharibu just one thing and you finish.
Alafu hapo kwa polisi, kwa sababu we've seen now that the police have a tainted name. DIG IG akashikwa 6 months minutes before appearing before the bench alikuwa amepatiwa conditions au the Kitengela 3 wapatikane minutes wa Kenya. Hii ni Showmax, tunafaa tu tukue Showmax. Anaingia hivi wanapatikana.
Kiamko anasema welcome back to my channel for today.
Subscribe.
Unaweka promo hapo.
So I think there's a lot happening since way back. Shakahola, shule imechomeka, watoto wamepotea. The 3 guys, where have you been a whole month? Kwanza ukikumbuka ni the bodies Ruiru ama ni wapi? You just wonder hawa ni wa Kenya ama ni watu wengine wanakuja. I really don't know.
The massacres.
But then that is not the issue. Even addressing it, as a leader you have to take responsibility. Who is responsible? We need to see guys resigning or at least something.
Tajela bana. Mtu akule mahindi kidogo.
Hakuna nini.
Chapo ngumu,
In Kenya. The acting inspector general summoned. He
7 times.
He never came.
Alionyesha mse kidole.
He never came. That's where we are at as Kenya as a country,
Sad.
It's very sad.
And it's very sad because we can summon the inspector general, acting inspector general is not coming. The judges are being withdrawn. Their security are being withdrawn.
Hata unapigwa transfer, uko hapa milimani umenisamon. Wajia. Sasa
how does that happen? Why?
I don't know who will save the comrades will save the country. That is the hope we have.
I was thinking you just need a new overhaul of the current system.
Tuanze upya.
A fresh.
Ama tuite wazungu wakuje sasa tuanze tu fresh vizuri.
Turudi colonialism alafu
sasa tupiganie mara ya pili.
Sasa sasa tukiwafukuza saa hizi tutakuwa tumechanuka. I don't know. At this point you don't know who to trust, who not to trust. Unaona activist anakimbishwa hapa kiasi ndio huyo.
Akona government.
Wako hapo wanacheka.
I think they are buying also this activist of Gen Z.
But you see, I can't blame the activist.
Why?
Unataka nikufe maskini wewe.
Unapewa mita moja. Unaambiwa cheki, ini yako najua sasa hata rent hujalipa.
Na ni ukweli.
Kuja tuongee afterwards. Utakata Marvin. Unajua shosh na mama kwa ushago wanachunga kuni or something, hata hawana pesa ya kununua hizo seeds mpya.
Nachukua lakini
kuchukua utachukua si ndio?
I know my goal. I'll go back.
That's exactly what happens. It's the whole point. When the government uses money to bribe the activists, kitu kama student leaders, that's the greatest vulnerability good people have.
Poverty is bad.
Poverty ni mbaya, and that's the thing.
But if you know your main goal, the aim, take the money, go use the money to kick them out.
Nikupe mita ugeuke. Unataka kupotea Marvin.
Unajua pesa ya serikali irudishwangu hivi hata kama ukisema uta invest.
Ai.
Marvin.
Unakuwa mjanja.
Ama unataka kuimba kwa kwaya ya Mungu mapema.
Unataka kupanda.
Nipoteka.
Unaona activists wametulia saa hizi. Watu wa Occupy wametulia tu.
They were bought.
So what do we do? Na hata wewe tukikupeleka, it's not that they won't buy you.
Sniper.
I was told in South Africa they usually use during the demonstrations, if they want to disband the people, they'll use this kind of tear gas enye tumkanga kwa set sijui nitangwaje. It's not the ones
Normal.
that we had. So they were very shocked. I have my friends up all I remember they're very shocked to hear about even live bullets and watu kudedi. I'm like, oh guy ni kwetu peke guys, you know if it's Russia tunatafuta huo leader peke, not the rest.
Unajua sasa rubber bullets huku sasa tutaanza kucheza. Tutacheza na rubber bullets. Wakenya sasa unataka kuniambia.
I'm sorry.
If people don't fear live bullets, rubber bullets.
I think that is what it takes. We can't compare Kenya to any other country. We have a lot of potential. We have a lot of resources. But then the problem is we have too much to complain. We don't know who will save it because tukijaribu hii, we have big boys meddling. Everyone wants to meddle. I don't know.
I'd like to add on it. You see wakati wa maandamano what happened? It was first organic. It was really good. The first week was really good. Ilikuwa ile watu walibambika. The second one now after they already passed, people were angry. Hungry people are angry people. You can't just kuna mtu by the way that's the rate of unemployment that you saw in that country. And perhaps most of them pia hawakunga wametokea because of
I'm not so sure.
Yes, and the parents also you know you're being told the culture unaambiwa na shosh bana nisikuone hapo adana kutupia mata akikwambia na nikuwa ula yani promise and swear I won't see you there and you're there conflicted of what you're supposed to you're being guilt tripped. That was the first thing. But then afterwards I saw when you saw the time that people were demonstrating and then there was this group and DJ Afro was using this voice here ati cheki sasa mazombi like they were doing this thing on TV in front of the live TV and then you're wondering what is really happening. We were organic, we weren't throwing anything and now we have people who are throwing stuff. So it cuts down to also civic education and how people are supposed to take this information because we can't change overnight.
On civic education, we the minimum, or is it the maximum way of picking police? Is it a D+ or?
Yeah, polisi wetu hebu tuachie hapo. Tuachie wewe. Utaambia polisi. Polisi kwanza ndio maana ongeleshangu kizungu. Unaongea lugha ni ya taifa. Ni ya taifa lugha. Lugha ni ya taifa.
Hakunanga you know my rights.
You know I know my rights. I know my rights.
I don't know I'm disgraced.
Utashangaa. So what I like to hear.
Hawakupewa handbook ya rights. Ukiwa kwa training but it's okay.
Marvin, what do you think will change this country?
I don't think.
Tuanze hapo kwa polisi. B+.
Tuanza na polisi by the way because you cannot have people who are not like well mentally.
Ongeza siko ubaya hapo.
Siko ubaya lakini but anyway hatuwezeka people who are not says sitaki kuiframe vibaya but not elite people always fikiria because when a police finds you
tutakuchapa. Hatuko na huyo.
Rephrase.
Anyway, mtaniget. So, a police cannot hear if he gets you or she. Maybe a she anaweza kusikia because I don't.
I beg to differ.
She anaweza kusikia. She won't use force than men. Men the moment he finds you maybe with
unajua atakumanhandle.
Yeah, exactly, manhandling.
Kujaona a woman police who calls for backup. Unajua hili man na konga moja.
No,
woman who itanga backup.
That's why he calls
for ladies.
FRR.
And then they use the gender card. Ati unaongelesha hivi jumini mwanamke.
Exactly.
Makosa.
Nika mimi ni trans guy.
That's what I'm saying women don't manhandle. They'll call for backup.
Na sasa wanakuitia
nani. But if they are men, they'll manhandle you. Now they'll take you to the woman to comfort you.
Unapewa
weji.
Yeah. Because I was in such kind of position, they didn't listen. They went straight to the conclusion and they judged. Then I had no mistake. So while we were going, they were discussing.
Ngapi?
Tumwekelee nini?
Utapata nini?
Tumwekelee nini? You know what? Wameshindwa kupata na makosa. So tumwandikie nini huyu? Tutaweza vuna poa.
Kwa sababu it's not about what you've done. Tutakuwa na wanajua tukishaandika hii tumeandika ndio hiyo si ulifanya
You fit the profile of doing this, you
Can
know.
I give you a case scenario? So where I stay, it's along Kangondo Road. Sides are Estlands, not yet Machakos. My friend who was working overtime that day, unfortunately hajabarikiwa mwili sana, a male. So he decides to size yako Kimathi. So unaona vile unakaa neat. Time yenye una work overtime and it's not in an office, ana work place enye mkono lazima tuvumbi hivi. So he was coming back, alikuwa ametoka another shift. He has 2 shifts and then that day akatoka around 9:30 p.m. On his way alikuwa ameita hadi msee wake wa buda waishie na yeye. Unajua alisimamishwa na polisi wake kwa gari.
Ndio.
Wait, just pause.
Okay.
So anaambiwa ati wao ni suspect. So see him, he's waiting for mniambie mara kwanza alikuwa zileza okay saa hapa ni kutoboka around 1500 because he has plans to do. But then akapelekwa jela and then the next day akapia court. I think it was Makadara. You know what he was charged with? Atieni Kamagera. Alikuwa kwa gari, alikuwa anaachilia mguu akiswing hivi, which is actually trying to commit suicide. And so he was charged 6,000.
For trying to commit suicide.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because aki ukimwangalia alikuwa raka tu zile za so confused.
Yo rada.
Like anaangalia judge zile za mimi, unajua?
Ama ni mwingine.
And then his hair was quite unkempt at that time. But it was short. It wasn't dready. So, thank God. Kwanza liambwa na polisi. Shukuru. Hukuanga na dreads. Kainge kwa kawe Marvin. Ngekelewa na bangi. Right now.
Because hiyo ilikuwa part of it. But I told them I don't use. No.
DT utaitisha.
But funny thing, they had it. Like they always have their own stock of
wako na
bang.
yao buda we caught him with this. Humi aje sasa.
You know, they have their own stock. But I told them I don't use it.
This is good.
You know. Like sawa, wewe tutajua venye takuhandle.
Wewe tutakupanga.
So the next day, well, I paid the bail to get out. 5,000.
No.
What was my mistake? Noise and disturbance.
Unashangaa.
Umesumbua nani?
Lakini that is the country we live in. We hope for better one. And that has been it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is the Exchange Podcast. I've been your host, Kimathi Wina. We've had a very interesting session with Gloria and Marvin. We hope that you'll support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, the Exchange Podcast. Tupatane. I've been your host, Kimathi Wina, and that's all for today. Bye.